Okay, so I thought of a bunch of stuff at work today, kind of. So I talked about October 4th being the last day of the Julian calendar in 1582. And the calendar started back over on October 15th. But anyway, this year will be the 433rd year of the Gregorian calendar then, after April or October 4th. And the 84th prime number is 433 or 433. And Obama was born on 8/4. We've mentioned that multiple times, not going to go into depth with it. But today at work, I was thinking about next year because all the Civil War stuff, and I've been seeing 34 and 43 like all over the place with all this new stuff that's going on. And 1582 to 2016 will be 4334 or 434, the mirrors. So who really knows what the whole agenda is, you know? I mean, a lot of it leads to Obama this year. I mean, I don't know if they're going to kill him. It really seems like that. They've been building it up like crazy in the Civil War and all that. But then next year being the 4334, that makes it even a little more scarier to me. I mean, who knows? But Obama, I just wanted to point out some things here. So Obama is actually the 43rd person to be president, but he is the 44th president. George Bush is the 42nd person to be president, but he's the 43rd president. So George Bush is also an iPad goat too, and he actually says, "Fool me once, shame on you," or whatever, right? And then he says that, and then he turns into Obama, and Obama winks at 106, the 10-6. But fool me once, shame on you adds up to 239. I've talked about this plenty with the Queen. It's the 239th year of the United States. 239 is the 52nd prime. We've seen 52 just coded all over the place. So maybe it's something to do with George Bush still. Maybe there's something to do with him. And next year, they'll do something with Obama with all the Civil War stuff, considering that he's African American or whatever. So I don't know, just a thought. But anyway, going to move on here. So Abraham Lincoln, he died on 4/15, but converted to the Julian calendar, it's 4/3. He was born on the 43rd day of the year, became president on 3/4. I went through a bunch of this before. The Can't Buy Me Love actress just died. That had ties to Grey's Anatomy, with Patrick Dempsey and all that. They killed off McDreamy. She played in Annie. It was just 43. The Charleston church shooting. Charleston adds up to 43. It's also where the Civil War began on April 12th, the same day Freddie Gray died. The first death of the Civil War was April 19th, 1861, the day Freddie Gray died. I said died up here, but I meant arrested. Civil War even adds up to 43. The guy who shot up the Charleston church was born on 4/3. The word Clipper, I talked about the Clippers, the Los Angeles Clippers, and racism and the boats. Greece, there's the whole debt thing going on in Greece. Greece adds up to 43. The last Philadelphia, or there was a Philadelphia train derailment on the same part of the track, and that the new one happened this year, and that was in 1943. But anyway, so I decided to go back and look at the presidents again. And I made a video probably a couple months ago about the 20th Amendment, which actually changed the date of the presidency from March 4th to January 20th. But, I mean, I didn't really look at it that much because there was just a ton of 32s around FDR and his assassination attempt and whatnot. But I never paid that much attention to it. But, so he was the last president to become president on March 4th, 3/4. And he died on April 12th, the same day Freddie Gray died, or was arrested. So interesting. I mean, that's just a number or a date they like, I guess. So since he died in office, Harry S. Truman actually did not become president on January 20th, like he should have from the 20th Amendment. And it actually was the 34th president. So, I mean, the date that the president becomes president was 3/4, and it got switched to January 20th, and it actually started with the 34th president. April 12th is really funny, too, because that's the 102nd day of the year. And I'm going to talk about Kobe Bryant and Wilt Chamberlain. And Wilt actually could have scored 102 in that game instead of 100. But he didn't want to score 102, so kind of interesting. But yeah, Eisenhower, though. So 34th president was the first president to become president on January 20th, other than the 3-4 date. But he was also president in the 43rd term. And look, he's from Kansas. That's actually where he declares his hometown, is in Kansas, too. And I just talked about the Kansas connection to all the Philadelphia stuff and whatnot. So interesting. But I'm going to talk about him a little bit. But check this out. So I don't know what their pattern is or what, but the first president to die in office was the 10th president, or the 9th president, William Henry Harrison. And he died in the 14th term, so 14th. The next time that a president dies, or I guess not next time, but look, 14, and then you go up 10 to the 24th. He died in office, so 14, 24, go up to 34. He died in office, so 14, 24, 34 died in office. Then the 44th term president died in office. And then you go up to 54, and that's George W. Bush, the 43rd president, but he didn't die in office. So interesting why he didn't die in office. And they have the 14th, the 24th, 34th, and the 44th term presidents all died in office, but George Bush, the 54th, didn't. So, I mean, I don't know what's going on. That's kind of weird. I mean, you would have thought that he would have died. So, but interesting, he is the 43rd president, so I don't know. Obama is also the 43rd person, so maybe I don't know. I don't know what's going on with that. But wanted to point out here, another weird thing I noticed was, well, if I can find it here, James Garfield said he died on September 19th, 1881. That is the 262nd day of the year. That's the day that my video got copyright struck or whatever, and then it led me to the gay marriage date and whatever. But just interesting. So he died on the 262nd day of the year in 1881, and he was 49 years old. That's craziness, because this is a big 49 year and all that. So he also died 61 days before his 51st or 50th birthday. So interesting, I guess. The 262, 51 days, 61 days. Man, I can't even think. 61 days before his 50th birthday. And 1881 sticks out to me because 81 and 34 are mirrored numbers when it comes to dates every 100 years. So, like 1981 is 34 years ago, and 1934 is 81 years ago. So, this number is probably going to be popping up a lot. Also, his was 1881, so 1881, the mirrors of itself, but 1981 is, if you like flip it upside down, it literally, 1981 is 1861, so interesting. That's what, all these 34s, and then 1981 flipped upside down, and like whatever mirrored is 1861, the year that the Civil War began. All these 34s and 43s are on the Civil War. Some other things that leave me kind of curious here. So the 20th Amendment, it was ratified on January 23rd, 1933, but it actually didn't take effect until, let's see here, October 15th. Yeah, October 15th was the day that it took effect, and it was ratified January 23rd. But like I said, October 15th was the first day ever of the Gregorian calendar. So, I mean, the calendar started on 10/4, 10/4 was when the last day of the Julian calendar, and then the Gregorian calendar started on October 15th of 1582. So interesting that this takes place on October 15th. And so it switched the date from 120 to 3/4, and that's 43 days before 3/4. So what I'm starting to wonder is that if, like, it's all about the beginning. So 3/4 is the beginning of the presidency, and then 120 was 43 days before when they changed it. But then we've been seeing, like, Obama winks at 106. We've been seeing 106, 601, a whole bunch. 10/6 is the same as September 23rd on the Gregorian to Julian. 10/6 can also be 6/10, which is the 161st day of the year. And we've been seeing 61 a lot with the Civil War, 61, 34, 43. But also, if you 10/6 and then you add 106 days, it takes you to 120. So, I mean, it just really makes me wonder if it's all about just the new beginning or the beginning and the end of the presidency, which makes it even more believable that they're going to kill Obama, because it's all about the 106, and then if it's the new beginning or whatever, it's 106 days away from the new beginning day, but actually a year away. Sorry if that's confusing. I know what I'm talking about. It's hard to explain it for some dumb reason. But so what I'm saying is, I think if they're going to kill Obama, I think it's going to be next year and nothing to do with this year. That's why I think something might happen to George Bush or the Pope or somebody else, or something else is going to happen this year. And if they are going to kill Obama, I think it's going to be next year, because 10/6 of 16, and then that would be 434 years after the Julian calendar ended, and you add 106 days, it'll be the new term of the presidency. So maybe Obama is just scared of the next president, or maybe they're just foreshadowing the next president, and they're not actually going to do anything to Obama. They're just showing the 106 because it goes along with the new beginning of the president. Also, October 6th, if you add 149 days, it takes you to 3/4. So these are like the two big significant days or whatever. So it's 43 days from the new date that the president is, from 3/4, and then 10/6 at 149 is 3/4. But Obama was born on 8/4, and there's 149 days left until the end of the year. Also, flux capacitors 149. Just putting that in there. And last thing I'm going to say here is that a long time ago, I added up all the assassinated presidents, and I put Barack Hussein Obama II in there. But and it added up to 9/11. I made a mistake, though. For some reason, I put Chester Abram Garfield in there. So it's actually James Abram Garfield, but Chester Arthur is the next president in line. So for whatever reason, I typed Chester. So scratch the 9/11 that I said a long time ago. But the real one is 881, and in Pythagorean gematria, it's 404. So, I mean, it's still very, very interesting, regardless if this 9/11 is not even there. 404, the amount of verses in Revelation. 881 is the 152nd prime number. If I could find it here. 152nd. I don't know if you convert it to a date. I guess that would be, it could be the last day of Lupercalia, 215, or even just mirror it or whatever, where it'd be 188, which is July 7th, or the 188th day is 7/7, and that's the mirror date of the gay marriage day. But if you put in George Walker Bush in there, it takes you to 400 and 877, and 877 is also prime, and it is the 151st prime number, and Valentine's Day adds up to 151. It's the mirrors of 51, so 15 and 51, and that's been coded all over the Civil War and whatnot and gay marriage. So, and if you just leave it how it is right now, the assassinated presidents in Pythagorean gematria adds up to 322. Interesting. And I forgot to talk about Eisenhower, but so Harry S. Truman was the only president to die at age of 88. Dwight D. Eisenhower was the 34th president. He was from Kansas. So yeah, I talked about Kansas in the last videos about Pennsylvania or Philadelphia and whatnot. And yeah, his hometown is Abilene, Kansas. It's just really funny. They talk about the history of his family and his like great grandpa or whatever. They actually settled in York, Pennsylvania, and then they ended up moving to Kansas. And I mean, I just talked about Pennsylvania, and then I said maybe they're cloaking it for Kansas because Kansas City adds up to 122, just like the San Francisco Pope Francis. Pope Francis is coming to Philadelphia. Yeah, let's see here. And I think that was all I really wanted to point out with him, other than the fact that he quit being president in 1961. So we've talked about the 61 Civil War. He's the 34th president, the first one to start on January 20th, and he's from Kansas. And then it's 43 days before 3-4. He was in the 43rd term. And I'm just going to end it on this. The day that the 20th Amendment was went into effect was on 10/15/1933. And if you go to 9/23 of 2015 this year, it's 81 years, 11 months, and 8 days. So like literally like 81118, like the mirror. That's pretty weird. We talk about the 88s and whatnot. So, and it also says that his parents were married on September 23rd, 1885. So, whatever. Gonna leave it at that. Hopefully this video makes sense. I know it's kind of all over the place. Yeah, have a great night.